Process fast and easy. And look at these rates and coverage options. It's great protection and totally fits our budget.
Ethos. They've removed all the barriers from getting coverage. Go to checkethos.com to get your free online quote. That's checkethos.com. Quote based on a healthy, non-smoking 30-year-old male with a 20-year term policy. Rates may vary.
Did you miss Canty and Carlin?
Michael Parsons is going to be a legitimate MVP candidate. I know how difficult it is to get into that discussion. You think about last season, he was on his way there for a bit, finished with 13 sacks. That number can go up exponentially this year when you add the likes of Stephon Gilmore. Let's just call it what it is. Dude's a problem.
Canty and Carlin, weekdays at 3 Eastern on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, and on Sirius XM Channel 80. The Hoop Collective Podcast.
Is Bradley Beal going to become the guy who is an all-NBA caliber player again? Or is he? Well, no, but I'm just saying, if
you're taking the position that's not an upgrade, is that the position you're taking?
Here's the position I'm taking. If Bradley Beal is not better this year than he's been the last 2 years, going into the first year of a $200 million contract that includes a no-trade clause, yeah, that's a problem.
The Hoop Collective Podcast. Listen on the ESPN app or wherever you listen to podcasts.
All eyes are on the WNBA. This season's about super team expectations.
Asia Wilson continues to live in beast mode.
Leveling up. All she wants to do is show out. And a powerful rookie class.
Boston slips inside, lays it in.
The WNBA. We're all about it. Liberty Fever. Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Presented by Google.
This is DC and RC. I'm Daniel Cormier, former UFC 2 Division champion.
And I'm RC, man, Ryan Clark. I'm a Super Bowl champ, but for now, I'm tapping in, not out with DC, because DC and RC is ready to roll.
Be sure to follow our new podcast where we're going to talk mixed martial arts, sports, we're going to talk life, maybe soap operas. All the while, we'll be having fun.
That's DC and RC. Follow wherever you listen to your podcast.
The Little League Softball World Series is the best time of the year. 2 weeks filled with laughs, high fives, and sportsmanship.
That's what it's all about. Little League Softball at its best.
Igniting a lifelong love of the game. They just love to play.
Sit back and enjoy.
The Little League Softball World Series, presented by Dick's Sporting Goods, continues on the networks of ESPN.
Hey, it's Amber Wilson. Coming up on Wednesday, we continue to rank the quarterbacks, but just how many elite quarterbacks are there in the NFL? That and more, 6 a.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and on ESPNU.
Hey, Paul, I know one thing today, brother. It is hotter than a dollar brothel on nickel night.
That's hot. All things on. Weekdays at 3 Eastern on the ESPN app and the SEC Network.
On Sports Center all night. While there may be trouble with command in Washington,
Eric Bieniemy is a tough, hard-nosed coach, but also understand I'm going to be their biggest and harshest critic, but I'm also their number one fan.
More on the backlash facing the Orioles after Kevin Brown's suspension.
It's unconscionable that you would actually suspend a really good broadcaster for no reason whatsoever. He didn't do anything wrong.
Plus, we take a trip around the diamond for Tuesday night baseball action.
Williams ready is 1-0. Swung on, belted high and deep, forget about it. Headed for the second deck.
This is Sports Center all night.
You get rocked after starting the whole thing, and you get the longer suspension. He gets 6 games. Ramirez, who knocked you the bleep out, only got 3. That stings as much as the punch.
Here's Chris Sylvester.
We welcome you to Sports Center all night. Lots to get into as we recap the Tuesday that was and look ahead to the Wednesday that is. We'll dive into the ever-changing conference realignment in college athletics, including SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey's comments on the demise of the Pac-12, plus reaction from Washington Commanders training camp and how new offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy is fitting in. That and more from the NFL as the season nears closer and closer. I'm Chris Sylvester. Glad you're with us on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, and Sirius XM Channel 80. Tonight we start on the diamond, a full slate and then some from Major League Baseball on Tuesday, including the American League best Baltimore Orioles welcoming in the Houston Astros for a 3-game series. Framber Valdez takes the mound for Houston for the first time since his no-hitter last week against the Guardians. Bottom of the first inning, the no-no was broken up, and so was the shutout.
0-2 again. And that's hit high in the air and deep to left center field, and you can kiss that one goodbye. Into the bullpens, a 2-run home run for Ryan Mountcastle on an 0-2 pitch. And it is 2-0 Baltimore.
Oh, WBAL, 472-foot shot from Mountcastle. Longest home run by an Oriole at Camden Yards since 2006. As for the Astros starting pitcher, far from the no-no stuff Valdez had last time out. The Houston Southpaw would give up 6 runs on 8 hits, but the Astros were hanging around late. Down 3 in the 9th against the All-Star Felix Bautista. Kyle Tucker stepped in with the bases loaded.
2-2 again. And Tucker hits it in the air pretty deep to right field. That sends back McKenna at the wall, looking up. See you later! Kyle Tucker gives the Astros a lead with a grand slam. 7-6, Houston.
100 miles per hour from Bautista, and more than that from Tucker to right field. And the Astros stun them.
KBME 790 with the enthusiastic call. Kyle Tucker becomes the first player this season to hit a grand slam with his team down 3 runs in the 9th inning or later. And Houston, well, they find a way late. They take down the Orioles in Baltimore by a final of 7-6. It was another Orioles game without TV play-by-play broadcaster Kevin Brown in the booth. Now, pretty much everybody has rallied behind Kevin Brown amidst his suspension for stating some statistics on a broadcast late last month. Nobody can make much sense of it. ESPN Sports Center reporter Dan Murphy with more on this broadcaster's puzzling suspension.
Enjoy the view from the top at the Trop. The Orioles move into sole possession of first place.
There has not been much bad news on the field for the Baltimore Orioles this season, but bringing up old struggles has led to some trouble for play-by-play announcer Kevin Brown, who has been conspicuously absent from the booth since making these comments in late July.
It's been a minute. The Orioles split a 2-gamer with the Rays in June. They had lost their last 15 series here at Tropicana Field. You have to go back to when our now colleague Brad Brock picked up the win in the series finale, June 25th, 2017, the last time the Orioles won a series here at St. Pete.
Despite the same facts being presented in the team's game notes, Brown hasn't appeared on the air since sharing them. A team spokesperson did not respond to questions about his status, but multiple news outlets reported this week that Brown has been temporarily pulled from his broadcasting chair on MASN, the regional network owned by the Orioles.
It's unconscionable that you would actually suspend a really good broadcaster for no reason whatsoever. He didn't do anything wrong.
Michael Kay was among many colleagues in the baseball world standing up for Brown, a young broadcaster who occasionally calls games for ESPN as well. They say Baltimore owner John Angelos is being unfairly thin-skinned.
Let me just say one thing to Baltimore Orioles management. You draped yourself in humiliation when you fired John Miller,
and you're doing it again. Sometimes facts are facts, and we have to sit here and talk about them, whether they are pretty or not. And in Baltimore, certainly they have had some different reaction to that sort of thing.
They lost 7 times, but they did beat Baltimore 6 times, which I hope I don't get suspended by the Orioles for saying that.
That's a joke, and I hope he's reinstated immediately.
The Athletic is reporting that Brown is expected to be back on the air by the end of this week, where he'll likely be hoping that this young, exciting Orioles roster provides no future reasons for criticism as the franchise chases its first playoff appearance since the 2016 season. For ESPN, I'm Dan Murphy.
Kevin Brown has worked for the Orioles as a TV and radio commentator since 2019. As mentioned, he also serves as a play-by-play commentator on several college sports across ESPN platforms. Really looking forward to hearing him back on some games soon. SportsCenter all night, ESPN Radio, the ESPN app. Well, the best team in baseball is wobbling just a bit heading into Tuesday's tilt in Pittsburgh against the Pirates. The Atlanta Braves losers in 3 of their previous 4. They trail into the 9th inning in this one, but after a Kevin Pillar game-tying single, Atlanta had a chance at a late lead.
2-2 from Bednar. Swung on to the ground ball. Fair down the left field line. Braves are going to take the lead. It kicks off the sidewall and ricochets away from Reynolds. 2-run score. It's a 2 RBI double by Orlando Arcia. And that first base dugout is on fire right now.
680 The Fan, Orlando Arcia's 3rd go-ahead hit in the 9th inning or later this season, tied for the 5th most in baseball. Braves come on back to win it 8-6 over the Pirates in the Steel City. Brave star Ronald Acuna Jr. left the game in the 6th inning after being hit in the left elbow by a 97-mile-per-hour fastball. X-rays came back negative. He is day-to-day with the injury. In the Big Apple, Cubs visiting the Mets. Chicago right in the thick of the NL wildcard race. This one was tied at 2 late until Mike Tauchman flexed his muscle.
Here's the 3-2. Line drive hit to deep left center field, way back. This could go. It's gone. The Palatine Pounder comes through, and the Cubs take the lead. A solo shot the other way. 3-2, Cubs over the Mets. Here in the 8th, Mike Tauchman with his 7th home run of the year.
Cubs Radio Network, Chicago holds on for a 3-2 win over the Mets in New York. Well, Chicago's other team, New York's other team, squaring off in the Windy City Tuesday night. Yankees at the White Sox. Well, the Pinstripers wouldn't have to sweat much in this one, and it always helps when Aaron Judge is getting some pitches to hit.
And the payoff. High fly ball, deep left, Benintendi back, on the track, off the wall, see ya! Home run Judge, and the Yankees lead 7-1.
Yes, Network the call. Home run number 20 for Aaron Judge on the season. Yankees cruise to a 7-1 victory in Chicago over the White Sox. Well, things are heating up at NFL training camps around the league. The latest from the Washington Commanders camp, the intensity new offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy has brought to the team. Commanders head coach Ron Rivera thinks perhaps some of the younger players have had a hard time adjusting to what Washington's new play caller has thrown at them.
A lot of these young guys, they do struggle with certain things. And a lot of you also got to take for where they've been. I mean, guys coming from certain programs are used to it. Guys come from other programs aren't as much. So, I kind of have to assimilate and get a feel for everybody. Eric has an approach, and it's the way he does things, and he's not going to change, and because he believes in it.
As for Bieniemy himself, he explained his style and his way of doing things.
My job is to address. If there's something that they may have an issue with, please, let's discuss this. Here's the reason why I felt a certain way. Here's why I said it. Now, okay, I put it back on the player. And you got to understand, we're in a grown man's business. We're in a grown man's world. My job is to make sure that I'm doing the best possible job of over-communicating clarity. I take a tremendous amount of pride in that. They also know when I'm getting on them, ain't nothing personal. What's personal is that I want us to win. I expect that particular player to be great at all times. I expect the effort to be a standard that's accepted by all of us. So when you're not reaching that, it's my job to address it. So sometimes they may like the highlights and the praise, but sometimes they may not like it. And I'm perfectly fine with that because that's my job. Because if I ain't doing my job, my ass get fired. So it's my job and my responsibility to make sure that I'm getting our guys to do what I expect them to do.
We have to respect how real Eric Bieniemy's kept it in his early tenure as the Washington Commanders offensive coordinator. Two-time Super Bowl champ as an assistant with the Chiefs. Has been often mentioned around NFL head coach openings in the previous years. The ESPN NFL analyst Louis Riddick thinks Ron Rivera should have kept Bieniemy's style close to the vest.
There was no benefit for me for Ron Rivera airing this out publicly. If he wanted to send a message to his offense about being soft, which I agree with you, Boog, then I would have told him such. Are you serious? This is pro football. You're coming to me about this coach is coaching me too hard. Are you serious? Okay, what have we won around here? What have we done? What has he won? Who has he coached? Who are some of the people that he has positively impacted in their career? All the way to the point where they have multiple Super Bowl runs. And I'm not just talking about Patrick Mahomes. This is talk about the running back room itself and the offense overall in Kansas City. Look, and you will get no sympathy from me when it comes to this kind of thing, especially when it comes to hard coaching, especially at the professional level. I was coached by Bill Belichick and Nick Saban at the same damn time. What do you think that was like? You think I went to Bill and said, hey, Nick is coaching me too hard, coach? He doesn't even know my name. He calls me by some other choice words half the time. So what are you going to do? Look, this is just so, and you know what? I don't even know if I like to use the word soft, but I will say this. Players nowadays, it's weird, man. It's really weird about just how much you have to walk this fine line between trying to help someone get better and not hurting their feelings, especially when we're talking about professional football. Professional. This is a get-to job. You don't have to do it. You can go do something else. You get to play pro football because they choose you to come and play for their organization and pay you money to do it. You don't have to do it.
Never a dull moment this offseason with the Washington Commanders franchise. Of course, the sale was finalized late last month. Now Eric Bieniemy is quickly making a name for himself in D.C. Commanders open their preseason slate Friday in Cleveland against the Browns. Well, still to come on SportsCenter all night, we'll run down the latest in conference realignment talks. Thanks for staying up all night with us. You're listening to ESPN Radio.
Hey, it's Amber Wilson. Coming up on Wednesday, we continue our NFL two-a-days with the Ravens and Cowboys. Plus, I'll tell you if your team's quarterback will be benched at some point this year. That and more beginning 6 a.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and on ESPNU.
This is SportsCenter all night on ESPN Radio.
Ortho Carolina and Scotland Health are pleased to announce the addition of spinal specialist Dr. Daniel DeRosa. Dr. DeRosa, who received his doctorate of osteopathic medicine from Kentucky College of Osteopathic Medicine, has joined Ortho Carolina's Laurinburg's location, specializing in minimally invasive procedures, spine surgery, interventional spine, and functional medicine. Dr. DeRosa will perform all surgeries at Scotland Memorial Hospital. To make an appointment, dial pound 250 and say orthopedic, or visit scotlandhealth.org/ortho. Scotland Health, closer care, better by far.
We buy any car. Why sell your car at WeBuyAnyCar.com? Because selling it yourself can be, well, you know.
Okay, I'll give you half now.
And?
No, and just half.
What? Avoid the hassle. Come to We Buy Any Car instead. Get in, get out, and get paid at a fair price.
Yeah, I can't do half. I could probably bump it up to 50%. Just go. Okay.
Get your free online valuation now at WeBuyAnyCar.com.
You've always had what it takes to make it happen, and we know the right tools can make it easier. At Strayer University, we're always thinking about new ways to set you up for success. That's why we give you a brand new laptop when you enroll in a bachelor's program, so you can start off on the right foot and keep striving. Visit strayer.edu to learn more. Eligibility rules, restrictions, and exclusions apply. Connect with us for details. Strayer University is certified to operate in Virginia by Chef.
Valspar's Signature has everything you want in a paint and more. Rich color, smooth coverage, excellent stain resistance. And now, Valspar's Signature has one more thing to love. An all-new low price, starting at just $35.98 per gallon. Originally $39.98, this limited-time offer begins August 3rd, only at Lowe's. Valspar, made for more. Valid through 9/26/23. See store or Lowe's.com for details. Price subject to change.
Is the Peloton bike even worth it? Isn't it just a bike?
Just a bike with low-impact rides for chill people to chill with 5 and 10-minute cooldowns for cool people to be cool with, and scenic rides for vibey people to vibe with. It's just a bike with a 30-day home trial so you can see if you're any one of those people. Try a Peloton Bike or Bike Plus at home for 30 days, and if it's not for you, return it for a full refund. First-time Bike and Bike Plus purchasers only, one trial per household. Upfront payment required. Full terms at onepeloton.com/home-trial.
Back to school savings are red hot this year at Office Depot Office Max. Shop today and save up to 60% on our best-selling school supplies from the brands you know and love, like Crayola, Sharpie, Texas Instruments, 5-Star, and more. Plus, give your schoolwork a professional touch with deals on tech, including amazing savings on HP printers. Shop in store and at OfficeDepot.com to stock up and save on everything you need to start the new school year strong. Success is in session, and so are the savings at Office Depot Office Max.
Between 2 points, between two people, between two places, a line is the shortest distance. Every time we build a line, we're also building a new connection. And connections are what we're all about. Energy United, every day empowered.
You've always had what it takes to make it happen, and we know the right tools can make it easier. At Strayer University, we're always thinking about new ways to set you up for success. That's why we give you a brand new laptop when you enroll in a bachelor's program, so you can start off on the right foot and keep striving. Visit strayer.edu to learn more. Eligibility rules, restrictions, and exclusions apply. Connect with us for details. Strayer University is certified to operate in Virginia by Chef.
Valspar's Signature has everything you want in a paint and more. Rich color, smooth coverage, excellent stain resistance. And now, Valspar's Signature has one more thing to love. An all-new low price. Start.
This is SportsCenter all night on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app.
Well, welcoming you back to SportsCenter all night on ESPN Radio, presented by Progressive Insurance. Not just 4 schools are set to remain in what's left in the Pac-12 beyond the upcoming athletic year, with the conference seemingly falling apart. Those still standing are scrambling to find some more stability. Cal and Stanford of late have been linked to the ACC. The ESPN College Football Insider Pete Thamel joined 6 p.m. SportsCenter with the latest on those discussions.
I was told by multiple sources that they are live and they are in play, and ACC athletic directors are expected to meet in the near future, perhaps as soon as tonight, to go over some more of the finances on what the deal could look like. For Cal and Stanford, there's sort of a ticking clock here. Let's remember the 4 leftover Pac-12 schools don't even have a football schedule for next season. Those are usually done 10 years in advance. So I would expect the timeline, Christine, to look like something in the next week, 2 weeks, somewhere in that neighborhood. Definitely before the season kicks off, ACC presidents have to come together and figure out whether it's fiscally viable going forward. Some of the aggrieved ACC schools aren't thrilled about the notion because it won't be significantly financially additive. Some of the entrenched ACC schools are a little more open to it, Christine, because they see 2 elite academic universities that can be linchpins of the league moving forward potentially. So it's an interesting crossroads the ACC sits at right now, and Cal and Stanford are right in the thick of it.
As for the ACC's current members, they have until August 15th to notify the conference of a desired change next summer. And despite the uproar from Florida State and others of late, Pete Thamel has a hunch that the ACC is going to look the same for now.
As of right now, with that deadline a week away, Christine, the sentiment coming out of the ACC is that there is not an expectation that Florida State or any of the other aggrieved schools like Clemson, like Miami, North Carolina, are going to test that deadline next week to leave before the 2024 season. And that is a long, complex conversation that can be distilled to two quick things. One, Florida State has nowhere to go, nor does anyone else have anywhere to go. And two, there's $120 million exit fees and a legal unwinding of the grant of rights. So there's no certain path forward, just like there really hasn't been the last 2 years this has been explored. But everyone around the ACC is still holding their breath August 15th to see if they can push through. So then they at least know there'll be 2 seasons as the ACC is currently constructed moving forward.
Everybody's talked about leaving a conference, it seems, since the big shakeup of Oklahoma and Texas announcing they'd be headed to the SEC. Still one more season in the Big 12 for the Sooners and the Longhorns, but SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey on the Paul Feinbaum Show feels a little uneasy about the shakeup in college sports of late.
I've opined publicly that I think the speculation and some of the pronouncements we've seen since that time about growth or directional growth is problematic. And even for me, with the security of the Southeastern Conference, whether it was Friday afternoon or through the day Saturday, fielding phone calls, which really were more conversations. What do you think's happening? There's nobody calling me, seeking or demanding entry. A lot of commentary publicly. It just wasn't one of those great feelings to work in college sports in my experience. And again, I take responsibility where we've made moves, but there was something different last week about really the still questions around the existence of the Pac-12 conference, given its long and storied history.
Well, the last 4 college football playoff titles have come from the SEC, with the playoffs set to expand after the upcoming season. All this conference realignment has the SEC commissioner pondering some revisions to the upcoming CFP expansion.
SEC, we wanted college football to be strong nationally, and we've not seen a west of the Rockies participant in the playoff since, I believe, 2016. And so the expansion was about making sure we brought in Western football. Well, now what's happened is Western football has come into other conferences. The net of that is circumstances have changed, and I think it's wise for us to take a step back and reconsider what the format might look like given these circumstances. We've not met on that. I've not had any meaningful conversations, but I think we have to acknowledge that it is on everyone's mind pending the outcome of some of these additional membership movement pieces.
Well, plenty of questions surrounding college football, plenty of questions surrounding the college football playoff. ESPN football analyst Greg McElroy on ESPN Radio speculates what the CFP could become.
There's nothing stopping the SEC from having their own playoff, or the Big Ten from having their own playoff, or them deciding to come together and say, hey, let's just do a playoff between the winners of the Big Ten and the winners of the SEC. There's really nothing stopping that. And that's where a lot of the power will be. And I think what a lot of the conversations will be moving forward. So that's why I think Florida State's scrambling right now. They all are citing the finances, and that's a huge issue. Don't get me wrong. I mean, they're going to be way behind the 8 ball, especially if you compound the difference between the SEC and the Big Ten payout and the ACC payout over the course of 12 years, which is the extent of their grant of rights. So I think the access to the playoff is something that really concerns them.
Now, the USA Today preseason top 25 coaches poll dropped on Monday. Georgia is the preseason number 1, followed by Michigan, Alabama, and Ohio State. Still ahead on SportsCenter all night. The up-to-date on holdouts across the NFL, plus more from a busy Tuesday in baseball. You're listening to ESPN Radio.
Greeny.
Alabama was 2 plays away from a perfect season. You write off Alabama at your own peril. I am most certainly not going to do that with you.
Weekday mornings at 10 Eastern on ESPN Radio.
So, you've got an idea for a business, the store of your dreams. There's just one thing to figure out. Everything. That's why Shopify's all-in-one commerce platform makes it easy to sell online, in person, and everywhere else. Sell on social media, source products with an app to get that first sale feeling. It's the only solution that gives you everything you need to sell everywhere you want. So when you're ready to bring your idea to life, power it up with Shopify.
Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/special offer 23.
Fact. An average of 1,400 people are killed every year on North Carolina roadways. Seatbelts prevent drivers and passengers from being ejected during a crash, killing themselves and others with their own bodies. Don't cause yourself or someone else to be part of the 1,400. Buckle up in every seat, every time.
We buy any car. Why sell your car at WeBuyAnyCar.com? Because when you trade in, you're dealing with a dealer. And sure, they're interested in a good deal. For them, not for you. Come to WeBuyAnyCar.com instead. All we do is buy cars. You get in, get out, and get paid at a fair price. So don't take chances with a trade-in. Go to WeBuyAnyCar.com for a free online valuation.
Find out how much your car's worth at We Buy Any Car.
This is your moment to move forward and make progress. It's time to see where an education can take you. For over 130 years, Strayer University has been at the forefront of change, offering programs that help students like you get ahead and stay ahead, so you can keep striving. Visit strayer.edu to learn more. Strayer University is certified to operate in Virginia by Chef.
Valspar's Signature has everything you want in a paint and more. Rich color, smooth coverage, excellent stain resistance. And now, Valspar's Signature has one more thing to love. An all-new low price, starting at just $35.98 per gallon. Originally $39.98, this limited time offer begins August 3rd, only at Lowe's. Valspar, made for more. Valid through 9/26/23. See store or Lowe's.com for details. Price subject to change. Is the Peloton bike even worth it? Isn't it just a bike?
Just a bike with low-impact rides for chill people to chill with 5 and 10-minute cooldowns for cool people to be cool with, and scenic rides for vibey people to vibe with. It's just a bike with a 30-day home trial so you can see if you're any one of those people. Try a Peloton Bike or Bike Plus at home for 30 days, and if it's not for you, return it for a full refund. First-time Bike and Bike Plus purchasers only. One trial per household. Upfront payment required. Full terms at onepeloton.com/home-trial.
You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, whenever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members only pay a $25 copay or less. No insurance, no problem. Now get $80 off of your first month when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Talkspace.com.
Welcome to Charlotte Douglas International Airport. I'm your tour guide, Landon Gear.
This is SportsCenter all night on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app.
SportsCenter all night on ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Save when you bundle motorcycle, RV, and boat insurance. Visit progressive.com.
Half-hour headlines on SportsCenter all night.
Well, Atlanta Braves star Ronald Acuna Jr. leaves Tuesday's action after being hit by a 97-mile-per-hour fastball on the left elbow, but the x-rays came back negative. he is day-to-day. Kyle Tucker blasts a go-ahead grand slam in the ninth inning off Felix Bautista to deliver the Astros a comeback victory in Baltimore. And Commanders head coach Ron Rivera says some players are concerned by new offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy's intensity.
Eric has an approach, and it's the way he does things, and he's not going to change.
That's the kind of BS you just don't want. He had no obligation to either say something or not say something, but the fact that he did say something, it for sure isn't going to help the situation overall as it relates to the opinions that people have of Eric Bieniemy.
Eric Bieniemy is who he is. Eric Bieniemy knows how to adapt and adjust. Eric Bieniemy is a tough, hard-nosed coach, but also understand I'm going to be their biggest and harshest critic, but I'm also their number one fan.
The NFL's big story Tuesday came from Washington. The Commanders head coach Ron Rivera telling the media that Eric Bieniemy's intense style has brought forth some concern among players on the roster. After Tuesday's practice, though, Bieniemy remained firm on his ways.
Eric Bieniemy is who he is, okay? Eric Bieniemy knows how to adapt and adjust. Eric Bieniemy is a tough, hard-nosed coach, but also understand I'm going to be their biggest and harshest critic, but I'm also their number one fan because I got their back. My job is to make sure that we're doing it the right way. There's a way to do it. Do they understand that? Yes, because they're seeing the results. We're making a lot of strides. I'm proud of these guys. It's been some, excuse my language, some good to watch.
While some players are reportedly concerned on how Bieniemy has coached them up, ESPN NFL analyst Booger McFarland on NFL Live praised what the coaching staff in Washington are doing.
Players are just soft. I think they've become accustomed to the surroundings and the culture that they have in Washington. I mean, seriously, guys, let's be honest. I mean, the reason you get a new coach, the reason you get a new offensive coordinator is because the old one wasn't doing a good enough job. And when you have a guy with the track record of Eric Bieniemy, a guy that's been to 5 consecutive AFC title games, a guy that's won 2 Super Bowls, and oh, by the way, he coached the best quarterback in football along with Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. You're going to talk about the way he coaches you. I couldn't get enough of Eric Bieniemy if I was a player of that Washington offense, nor would I care how hard he coached me. The fact that they have to complain and tell people, well, I don't like his coaching style. Well, guess what? The previous style didn't work for you because the offense wasn't good enough. And so, people are saying, should Ron Rivera have aired this? I like this because oftentimes a head coach is speaking to his team through the media. And when he let us know that the players are being a little soft, that tells you everything you need to know about the players on the Washington offense. It's not about who the quarterback is going to be. It's about the mentality. Take the coaching, get better, and move on. If I were a player in that locker room, I would feel really, really bad and really, really just not understanding of how we got to the point where we're complaining about being coached hard.
Well, the uproar from Bieniemy's style far from the only noise out of the NFC East on Tuesday. Cowboys offensive guard Zach Martin continued his holdout, and while Cowboys owner Jerry Jones has appeared firm on his stance to not give in, ESPN NFL reporter Jeff Darlington on Greeny says the Cowboys owner is to blame.
You could make a case that we're here with Zach Martin because of Ezekiel Elliott. It feels like a pendulum swing, right? Jerry Jones was asked about that. Are you saying precedent? Is this because of the Zeke deal? And he said, no, it's just facts. We have to pay other guys. We have to pay Micah Parsons. We've got other contracts, other money to distribute, and we already did that with Zach Martin. He's saying no, but yeah, there tends to, in my head, be a little bit of a, hey, you're not going to pull this over on me again. I'm not going to be everybody's punching bag.
Martin, one of a plethora of big names currently looking for a better deal before the season kicks off. Jeff Darlington on NFL Live gave the latest from the camps of running backs Jonathan Taylor and Josh Jacobs.
Jonathan Taylor now in a situation where we've seen him at training camp every day. You see it right here. He's been on the practice field kind of hanging out. That's what injured players do in Indianapolis. He's dealing with that offseason ankle surgery. But ultimately, today, not there. And this is a little bit of a development. He was not on the practice field. Shane Steichen says this is related to his rehab. Ultimately, we'll find out eventually if it's also related to his contract. Josh Jacobs, another guy who's not at training camp. The question here, of course, is, number one, when will he be there? He has not yet signed his franchise tag that would pay him $10.1 million this season. And number two, what will the Raiders do if it gets closer to the season and he still hasn't signed it? Will they consider rescinding it, which could be a tough situation for Jacobs, or will they ultimately just keep on waiting?
Well, as for Colts head coach Shane Steichen, he wasn't trying to talk much about Jonathan Taylor after Tuesday's practice.
Yeah, this is part of his rehab process. If you guys don't see him out here, it's part of his rehab.
Is he rehabbing here on site or somewhere else?
Yeah, like I'll refrain from getting into that. Oh, yeah.
Do you expect him back tomorrow? Or?
Yeah, if you don't see him back here out on the field, it's because he's rehabbing.
Shane, what is his health status? I mean, because different things.
Yeah, he's got an ankle, and he's rehabbing his ankle. And like I said, once the medical staff clears him and he's 100%, he'll be out on practice.
Has there been much progress, do you feel?
Yeah, I think he's in a good spot, and we're going from there.
Do you think he'll practice during camp?
I'd like to see that. We'll see how it all plays out, though. Again, once he's cleared, he'll be out here.
Shane, I don't know how much you didn't want to get into. Not much, apparently, but is this the original injury, the original surgery, or did he do something?
Yeah, he's got the ankle. It's the ankle, yeah.
Lots to solve between a number of players and franchises throughout the NFL as the regular season start date now sits 1 month away. Well, dog days of August in Major League Baseball, and on Tuesday, the Astros staged an epic comeback against the AL's best team.
2-2 again. And Tucker hits it in the air pretty deep to right field. That sends back McKenna at the wall, looking up. See you later! Kyle Tucker gives the Astros a lead with a grand slam. 7-6, Houston. 100 miles per hour from Bautista, and more than that from Tucker to right field, and the Astros stun them.
KBME 790. Tucker hit that one off the all-star closer Felix Bautista, who had an ERA under 1 coming in. Astros 7-6 winners in Baltimore on Tuesday. So Houston holds the second wild card slot in the American League. The Blue Jays hold the third. Toronto going for a 5th straight win Tuesday in Cleveland, but the Guardians would get some early offense from a newcomer.
The pitch, and it's swung on, grounded over the bag at third. Fair ball down the left field line into the corner. Gonzalez hits third. He's being waved home. Laureano will stay at second with an RBI double. And it's 1-0 Cleveland as Gonzalez scored from first on a double over the bag at third and down into the left field corner in Laureano's first at bat as a Cleveland Guardian. How about that?
Well, WTAM 1100 had the call. Laureano just got picked up after being designated for assignment by the Oakland Athletics. That was the only offense this game had to offer. Guardians blanked the Jays 1-0 in Cleveland. Well, the Stros and Jays looking up at the Rays, who hold that top wild card spot in the American League. Interleague action as Tampa Bay hosted St. Louis on Tuesday. This one was close late until the All-Star Yandy Diaz came through.
1-0 from Palante. Swinging a ground ball past the mound, through into center field, a base hit for Yandy Diaz. Josh Lowe scores. Yandy is 4 for 4 on his birthday, and on his birthday, he gives the Rays a 2-1 lead in the 8th inning.
6:20 WDAE. Tampa Bay picks up a game in the AL East. They beat St. Louis 4-2. Red Sox trying to stay in the wild card hunt, hosting the Kansas City Royals. A night after Pablo Reyes connected on a walk-off slam for the Sox, the Royals would light off most of Tuesday's fireworks.
2 balls and a strike on Waters. The pitch. Fastball hit high in the air, deep to right field. Verdugo's back onto the track at the fence. It's out of here. Drew Waters hits a 2-run homer at Fenway Park. And the Royals extend their lead. It's 3-0 in the top of the 4th inning.
6:10 KCSP. Royals cruise to a 9-3 win over the Red Sox at Fenway. How about the Angels? A week ago, they sat just a few games out of the AL wild card. They added some arms and bats at the deadline, going all in on Shohei Ohtani's final season of his contract. A week later, 7 straight losses later, the Angels entered Tuesday 8 games out of a playoff spot. ESPN MLB reporter Alden Gonzalez on 6 p.m. Sports Center breaking down what a late season collapse could mean for the franchise.
Well, the worst case scenario was obvious, right? It was missing the playoffs, then watching Shohei Ohtani walk away in free agency and getting nothing for him. But the reality is This is the worst case scenario because a lot of what the Angels did at the trade deadline, it was geared toward October, but it was also geared towards September. September was when their schedule would soften. September was when Mike Trout would be back. Their impressive rookie catcher Logan O'Hoppe would be back, and they just wanted to be in it down the stretch. Keep in mind, since Shohei Ohtani got here 6 years ago, they haven't played meaningful games down the stretch of the regular season. Forget the playoffs. They haven't been in it at the end. And their front office believed that not so much making the playoffs, but showing Shohei Ohtani that they could contend down the stretch was going to be a big part in trying to convince him to come back. And barring a drastic turnaround now, they might not even get that.
Well, the Angels trying to get off the schneid on Tuesday, hosting the San Francisco Giants. Early offense for the Halos in this one.
And the pitch, there's a little bouncing ball, and that's going to skip through right into center field, and a single will drive in Rengifo, and the Angels have a 1-0 lead.
Angels Radio AM 830, part of a 4-run first for the Angels. They never trail en route to a 7-5 win over San Francisco, ending a 7-game losing streak. Still lots of work to do. Now 7 games out of the final wild card slot in the American League. Hey, the AL West's best, the Texas Rangers visiting the Oakland A's Tuesday night. Texas vying for an 8th consecutive victory. They sent Max Scherzer to the mound, and the Bats did the rest.
65 RBIs for Corey this year. And here's another blast deep out into right center field. Blade and Ruiz are at the wall. They look up, and it is gone. Corey Seager with his 19th home run of the year, leading off the 7th inning here tonight. He gives Texas a 5-1 lead.
105.3 The Fan, 19th of the year for Seager. Texas gets 7 innings of one-run baseball from Mad Max, and they win an 8th in a row, 6-1 over Oakland. Well, the Seattle Mariners, another AL West team playing some good baseball, hosting the San Diego Padres Tuesday night. M's going for a 6th straight win, and Logan Gilbert was slicing and dicing the Padres lineup all night long.
Into the lineup. Here's a 3-2. Swing and a miss! An absolutely ridiculous slider, and it tears apart Juan Soto. It's the 12th strikeout tonight for Logan Gilbert. He has just set a new single-game career high. Of all the guys to get it, he matches his career high striking out Tatis, and he sets a new all-time personal best, striking out Juan Soto.
Well, Seattle Sports 7:10 a.m. Just 2 runs for the Mariners in this one, but that was plenty for the brilliant Logan Gilbert. 7 innings, 1 hit, no runs, no walks, 12 punch-outs. Mariners' 6th straight victory. There's a 2-0 win over the Padres. NL West action, Dodgers visiting the Diamondbacks. I hear they've got some good double-doubles out west.
Look, he swings, hits it toward the gap in left center. That's going to get down, and that's going to go to the wall. Rosario around third. He'll score. Betts rumbling around second. He'll throw on the brakes, and he has driven in a run with a double. It is 2-0 Dodgers. Mookie Betts, a 15-game hitting streak, and his 76th run batted in. Now the pitch, and Freddie cues one inside to third. That's a fair ball. Mookie's going to run around third. He will score easily. Freddie racing for second. He is safe with a pop-up slide. It is 3-0 on a run-scoring double for Freddie Freeman, who's doing the Freddie out at second base. His 41st double and his 81st run batted in.
AM 570 LA Sports, RBI doubles for both Betts and Freeman. A couple of NL MVP candidates in the same lineup. Dodgers stay hot with a 5-4 win in Arizona. They now lead the National League West by 5 games after not spending much time atop the division in the season's first half. Now, the Phillies have been all about second halves the last couple years. They played 2 against the Washington Nationals Tuesday. Game 1, a Schwarbomb was served.
Williams ready is 1-0. Swung on, belted. High and deep, forget about it. Headed for the second deck, Kyle Schwarber with his second home run of the day. And it's his 30th on the season. And the Phillies lead it 6-3.
Sports Radio 94 WIP. Phillies would cruise to an 8-4 win in Game 1. As for Game 2, it was tied late until Joey Meneses barreled up.
Now the pitch swung on, belted to deep left. 0 for no more. It is gone. Goodbye. Joey Meneses with his second home run of the night in as many at-bats. A 2-run homer to tie in the 7th. Bang, zoom, he goes here in the 9th. And the Nationals have the lead here in the 9th inning.
Nationals Radio Network, it's tough to sweep a twin, Bill. Nats take the nightcap 5-4 over Philly. Hey, still to come, Tuesday's top sounds, plus more from around the diamond. This is Sports Center All Night on ESPN Radio.
Hey, it's Amber Wilson. Coming up on Wednesday, we continue our NFL two-a-days with the Cowboys. Is this the year that Dak Prescott finally gets to a Super Bowl? That and more beginning 6 a.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and on ESPNU.
ESPN Radio Sports Center All Night. More next.
We buy any car. Why sell your car at WeBuyAnyCar.com? Because selling it yourself can be, well, you know.
Okay, I'll give you half now. And? No, and just half.
What? Avoid the hassle. Come to We Buy Any Car instead. Get in, get out, and get paid at a fair price.
Yeah, I can't do half. I could probably bump it up to like 50%. Just go. Okay.
Get your free online valuation now at WeBuyAnyCar.com.
What's up, everybody? Okay, do you guys know that even if we all ate the same and exercised the same, that we would all still look completely different? I'm Lacey Green. I'm a super trainer with Body. That's BODI.com. I'm telling you, this is something that you need in your life. The app isn't just about having a perfect body, because what is that anyway? It's about what we call health esteem. Feeling good about yourself right now, just as you are, as you work on the person you are becoming. Using Body's tools to find your version of happy and healthy. Body isn't just some software. It's people. It's trainers, nutrition, and mindset experts, and a community of other people just like you and me. And they even have my program for beginners only, which you have to try even if you've never worked out a day in your life. I'll get you off the couch and started on day one, finding the joy and dropping the judgment. And don't take my word for it. You can try it for free right now for 14 days at Body.com. That's Body with an I.com. Let's get up, get moving, and feel good. Whoop, whoop.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up during inflation, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How did you get 30, 30, bid you get 30, bid you get 20, 20, 20, bid you get 20, 20, bid you get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? So
give it a try at mintmobile.com/save.
New activation and upfront payment for 3-month plan required. Taxes and fees extra. Additional restrictions apply. See mintmobile.com for full terms.
Is the Peloton bike even worth it? Isn't it just a bike?
Just a bike with low-impact rides for chill people to chill with 5 and 10-minute cooldowns for cool people to be cool with, and scenic rides for vibey people to vibe with. It's just a bike with a 30-day home trial so you can see if you're any one of those people. Try a Peloton Bike or Bike Plus at home for 30 days, and if it's not for you, return it for a full refund. First-time Bike and Bike Plus purchasers only. 1 trial per household. Upfront payment required. Full terms at onepeloton.com/home-trial.
What makes Contour Next diabetes test strips next level? A few reasons. They're the #1 over-the-counter brand. Next, they give you highly accurate results in seconds. Next, they're more affordable than many insurance copays. Next, they're doctor recommended.
All right, thanks, Doc.
And next, they work with all Contour Next meters. Next level diabetes testing, that's over-the-counter Contour Next test strips. Woohoo! Dive into summer and shop in-store or online at a retailer near you.
Aquí estamos preguntando sobre supersticiones financieras.
This is Sports Center All Night on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app.
Sports Center All Night. Great to be with you as we lead into the middle of the week. Lots of top sounds from Tuesday's slate, and Jim Basquill has you covered.
Number 4.
Chris, baseball's best team was down entering the ninth, but hit the Bucks with a 3 spot capped by this. 680 The Fan.
2-2 from Bednar. Swung on to the ground ball. Fair down the left field line. Braves are going to take the lead. It kicks off the sidewall and ricochets away from Reynolds. 2-run score. It's a 2 RBI double by Orlando Arcia. And that first base dugout is on fire right now.
Number 3.
The Phils were well on their way to sweeping 2 from the Nats, but Joey Meneses had other ideas. His 2-run home run in the nightcap tied the game. Then in the ninth, he went out again with this game winner. Nationals Radio Network.
Now the pitch swung on, belted to deep left. Oh, for no more. It is gone. Goodbye. Joey Meneses with his second home run of the night. In as many at-bats. A 2-run homer to tie in the 7th. Bang, zoom, he goes here in the 9th. And the Nationals have the lead here in the 9th inning.
Number 2.
The Seattle Mariners are creeping closer to the final AL wildcard. Tuesday, the Padres were stymied by M's righty Logan Gilbert, who threw 7 stellar frames, surrendering just 1 hit while fanning a dozen. Seattle Sports 710 AM.
Into the lineup, here's a 3-2. Swing and a miss! An absolutely ridiculous slider, and it tears apart Juan Soto. It's the 12th strikeout tonight for Logan Gilbert. He has just set a new single-game career high. Of all the guys to get it, he matches his career high striking out Tatis, and he sets a new all-time personal best, striking out Juan Soto.
Number 1.
And the blow of the night came from Camden Yards. Stroh's down 6-3, had him loaded against O's closer Felix Bautista, but Kyle Tucker was at the dish. KBME 790 AM.
2-2 again. And Tucker hits it in the air pretty deep to right field. That sends back McKenna at the wall, looking up. See you later! Kyle Tucker gives the Astros a lead with a grand slam. 7-6, Houston. 100 miles per hour from Bautista, and more than that from Tucker to right field. And the Astros stun him.
Oh, good stuff, Jim. Plenty of big late inning moments from Tuesday. Another busy slate today should bring us more. Well, right now, the NL Central is led by the Milwaukee Brewers. Colorado Rockies in town on Tuesday night. This one would head to extras, and well, the Rockies would have no trouble plating that ghost runner and then some.
Uribe with the next pitch. And hit to left field. Hit it hard, but right at Yelich. He'll come in, slide, and make the catch. Tucker will tag and score. Nolan Jones does his job. That's a sacrifice fly. Rockies tack on. 4th run in the inning. 7-3 Colorado.
Yeah, 850 KOA. 4 runs in the top of the 10th. Rockies 7-3 winners over the Brew Crew. So a chance for the Cincinnati Reds to scoot up in the standings. They hosted the Miami Marlins on Tuesday, but could not escape the Soler power.
Here's a swing and a drive. This is hit deep right center field. Friedel's on the run. Out of the warning track. Leaps. He can't get it. Jorge Soler has given the Marlins a 3-2 lead here in the top of the 7th inning. He's 3 for 3 out of the leadoff spot here tonight.
940 WINZ. Marlins keep pace in the NL wildcard race. That home run, the difference in a 3-2 Fish win. As it stands, 3 teams in the NL Central are separated by just a game and a half. The Brewers with game and a half leads over both the Reds and the Chicago Cubs. Well, still ahead on SportsCenter all night. Some late inning drama in Baltimore as a couple of All-Stars squared off with the game on the line, plus the buzz around Washington and the Commanders. This is SportsCenter all night on ESPN Radio.
Hey, it's Amber Wilson. Coming up on Wednesday, we continue our NFL two-a-days with the Ravens. Lamar got a new contract and Odell, but are they good enough to compete in the AFC? That and more beginning at 6 a.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and on ESPNU.
The top headlines are next on
Ortho Carolina and Scotland Health are pleased to announce the addition of spinal specialist Dr. Daniel DeRosa. Dr. DeRosa, who received his doctorate of osteopathic medicine from Kentucky College of Osteopathic Medicine, has joined Ortho Carolina's Lauren Burks location, specializing in minimally invasive procedures, spine surgery, interventional spine, and functional medicine. Dr. DeRosa will perform all surgeries at Scotland Memorial Hospital. To make an appointment, dial pound 250 and say orthopedic or visit scotlandhealth.org/ortho. Scotland Health. Closer care, better by far.
We buy any car. We buy any car. We buy any car. Any.
Did you know trading in your car at a dealer could cost you money? Research shows consumers who trade in their car pay an average of $990 more. So don't trade in, sell it to We Buy Any Car. Get your free online valuation now at
We buy any car.
Research published in the Journal of Industrial Economics, December 2015, showed buyers with a trade-in pay an average of $990 more than those who do not trade in their used cars.
The drive to go further and reach higher. The same thing that inspires you inspires us. At Strayer University, we're always searching for new ways to make education more affordable. That's why we offer access to up to 10 no-cost gen ed courses to help you save time and money, so you can keep striving. Visit strayer.edu to learn more. No-cost gen eds provided by Strayer University affiliates Sophia Learning. Eligibility rules apply. Connect with us for details. Strayer University is certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Valspar's Signature has everything you want in a paint and more. Rich color, smooth coverage, excellent stain resistance. And now, Valspar's Signature has one more thing to love. An all-new low price, starting at just $35.98 per gallon. Originally $39.98, this limited-time offer begins August 3rd, only at Lowe's. Valspar, made for more. Valid through 9/26/23. See store or Lowe's.com for details. Price subject to change.
At LensCrafters, we value expertly tailored eye care, provide state-of-the-art eye exams, offer a wide assortment of designer brands and high-quality lenses. Because everything we do at LensCrafters is for every sight that makes your life special. We offer 50% off lenses with frame purchase. Shop in-store and online. Book your annual eye exam now on LensCrafters.com. LensCrafters, because sight. Eye exams are available at the independent doctor of optometry at or next to LensCrafters. Doctors in some states are employed by LensCrafters. Offer valid to August 27, 2023. See associate for details.
The drive to go further and reach higher. The same thing that inspires you inspires us. At Strayer University, we're always searching for new ways to make education more affordable. That's why we offer access to up to 10 no-cost gen ed courses to help you save time and money, so you can keep striving. Visit strayer.edu to learn more. No-cost gen eds provided by Strayer University affiliates Sophia Learning. Eligibility rules apply. Connect with us for details. Strayer University is certified to operate in Virginia by Chev. You've always had what it takes to make it happen, and we know the right tools can make it easier. At Strayer University, we're always thinking about new ways to set you up for success. That's why we give you a brand new laptop when you enroll in a bachelor's program, so you can start off on the right foot and keep striving. Visit strayer.edu to learn more. Eligibility rules, restrictions, and exclusions apply. Connect with us for details. Strayer University is certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Valspar's Signature has everything you want in a paint and more. Rich color, smooth coverage, excellent stain resistance. And now, Valspar's Signature has one more thing to love. An all-new low price, starting at just $35.98 per gallon. Originally $39.98, this limited-time offer begins August 3rd, only at Lowe's. Valspar, made for more. Valid through 9/26/23. See store or Lowe's.com for details. Price subject to change.
You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy.
Now on SportsCenter all night. While there may be trouble with command in Washington,
Eric Bieniemy is a tough, hard-nosed coach, but also understand I'm going to be the biggest and harshest critic but I'm also their number one fan.
More on the backlash facing the Orioles after Kevin Brown's suspension.
It's unconscionable that you.
More on the backlash facing the Orioles after Kevin Brown's suspension.
It's unconscionable.
ESPN2 and on ESPNU.
The hunt for October continues on ESPN Radio.
Swing and a miss, and it's over.
While the Twins sit high atop the American League Central,
Carlos Correa.
the Phillies are among the wild card leaders in the National League.
Out of here! Kyle Schwarber. And this place is going bananas.
And they go head-to-head in Philadelphia this weekend. The Twins and Phillies. Coverage begins Saturday at 5:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio. You can also listen on the ESPN app and on your smart speaker.
And charging whenever you need it. Get the parts and help you need to get the job done right at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Hey y'all, my name is Tiara, and a little thing that I love about the Chick-fil-A spicy chicken biscuit is that it has the perfect amount of spice to jumpstart my day. Whoever thought of it, thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Robert, and a little thing I love about Chick-fil-A spicy chicken biscuit is the biscuit. It reminds me of my grandma's homemade biscuit. It's always buttery and savory. Then you add the spices, instant classic.
Order the spicy chicken biscuit on the Chick-fil-A app today. Real Chick-fil-A guests paid for their testimonials.
So why should I care about you? But Jim, you idiot, I hate you anyway. Holla.
Glad we could end that call on a very upbeat note.
Hall of Fun Bomb. Weekdays at 3 Eastern on the ESPN app and the SEC Network.
Exclusively on ESPN Plus, UFC 292, Saturday, August 19th. Two titles are on the line. Bantamweight champion Aljamain Sterling defends his title against number 2 contender Sean O'Malley. And women's strawweight champion Zhang Wei Li defends her title against Amanda Lemos. Try it. UFC 292, Saturday, August 19th at 10 p.m. Eastern. Buy it on ESPNplus.com/PPV.
South Carolina fans are with the show. The challenge to me is the North Carolina fan. I feel like they'd much rather have brunch. It's like one of those Bloody Marys.
Listen to the College Game Day podcast with Reese Davis and Pete Thamel, wherever you listen to podcasts.
The 2023 U.S. Open Tennis Championships. It's the sport's biggest stars. It's the next generation now. It's fire on the court and off. It's edgy as seat and up on your feet. And it only happens here. The U.S. Open, August 28th through September 10th. Tickets on sale now at usopen.org. The U.S. Open. Spectacular awaits.
This is DC and RC. I'm Daniel Cormier, former UFC 2 Division champion.
And I'm RC, man, Ryan Clark. I'm a Super Bowl champ, but for now, I'm tapping in, not out with DC, because DC and RC is ready to roll.
Be sure to follow our new podcast where we're going to talk mixed martial arts, sports, we're going to talk life, maybe soap operas. All the while, we'll be having fun.
That's DC and RC. Follow wherever you listen to your podcast.
Yo, check this out from Canty and Carlin.
He's the AI quarterback. If ChatGPT spit out a quarterback, it would be Russell Wilson at this point. With the way he speaks, with the way he handles himself with his teammates. Tell me ChatGPT didn't actually write Broncos Nation, Let's Ride. Like if there was a football exhibit at Epcot, he would be the robotic quarterback there.
Canty and Carlin, weekdays at 3 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app.
The Little League Softball World Series is the best time of the year. 2 weeks filled with laughs, high fives, and sportsmanship. That's what it's all about. Little League Softball at its best. Igniting a lifelong love of the game. They just love to play.
Sit back and enjoy.
The Little League Softball World Series, presented by Dick's Sporting Goods, continues on the networks of ESPN.
Eric has an approach, and it's the way he does things, and he's not going to change.
That's the kind of BS you just don't want. He had no obligation to either say something or not say something, but the fact that he did say something, it for sure isn't going to help the situation overall as it relates to the opinions that people have of Eric Bieniemy.
Eric Bieniemy is who he is. Eric Bieniemy knows how to adapt and adjust. Eric Bieniemy is a tough, hard-nosed coach, but also understand I'm going to be their biggest and harshest critic, but I'm also their number one fan.
Amber Wilson and Ian Fitzsimmons hanging out with you this morning on ESPN2, ESPNU, and on ESPN Radio. ESPN Radio presented to you by Progressive Insurance. Last night, Ian, the winning ticket for the Mega Millions, the $1.58 billion jackpot, one single winning ticket. Somebody woke up this morning a billionaire. Maybe when they went to sleep last night, they were a billionaire. That winning ticket was sold not in Dallas, Texas, where you're located, in the state of Florida, except for I'm here this morning. So I think you've got an idea. It's probably not me.
Be here. We were wondering, hey, is Amber, did she hit it? Because it didn't say the city. If you're watching on ESPNU right now and listening on ESPN Radio, I'm holding up 85 losing tickets.
Come on, none of that. Like, you had to have won $4 or something.
Not one. The mega ball was number 14. In these 85 tickets, the ESPN Radio college football broadcast crew hit exactly 0 numbers. Nada. I am so glad this damn thing is over, because we went from the Powerball right into the Mega Millions of over $1 billion in lotto prizes, and we didn't win spit. So I am so glad it's over, done. I'm not flushing any more money right down the toilet. Not $1, Amber, in 85 tickets. $170, didn't win a cent. Nada. Zilch.
Wow, that's depressing. There were apparently over 540,000 tickets just sold in the state of Florida alone. One of them won it, matched all the numbers that you needed to match. That person is a billionaire. Apparently, that person bought the ticket at a Publix, which is funny because that's the supermarket chain down here. And you and I had an on-air discussion yesterday where I told you, I always buy my lotto tickets at Publix, and I feel like it's a bad strategy because I don't feel like Publix is ever going to have the winning lotto ticket. Like, you have to go to some rinky-dink gas station in some part of town, right? Yeah. Like you did, right? Like, you have to hit the gas station. You got to evaluate when you pull up to the gas station. Does this look like a place that's going to sell me a winning ticket for $1 billion? Because of course the place that does it also gets like some huge kickback too,
$1 million,
right?
Yeah.
Right. And so you're thinking, okay, huge corporation in Publix, it's a grocery store chain all across the Southeast. They're not going to be the one. Like, they don't need the money. They're not going to be the ones. It's going to be some like independent mom and pop gas station that ends up getting those riches. Apparently it was a Publix. It was a Publix. Now, I don't think it was me. Truth be told, totally forgot to buy tickets. Completely forgot. Texted my husband last night. I was getting into bed. He was still up. He was watching TV. And my mother-in-law was still up, but she was getting into bed. And I texted on a group text, hey, we all forgot to buy Mega Millions tickets. And my husband responded, I'll run out and go get some right now. I'm like, cool. I have to get up early. I just wanted to get into bed, watch a little TV, go to sleep. So he said he was going to run out. I did say in writing in the text, I'm in. So if you win, I'm.
Yeah, you
it's
legal
in writing.
Documentation. You are part of this bad boy. You're in. Yeah.
But here's the thing. I don't actually know. I mean, he could have been the one. It was sold in Florida. Maybe he's a billionaire. Now, he was in bed next to me when I woke up this morning. I feel like he would have fled perhaps to some foreign country.
Grab your son and he's gone on a private jet. He's going PJ style.
If I had woken up this morning, I'm like, wait a minute. Where's my family?
That's absolutely priceless. The only thing I got out of this is I got a great night's sleep. I mean, anytime I play the lotto, it's better than Ambien. I don't check my numbers. I mean, you go to bed, you're dreaming sweet dreams of a ski chalet, maybe a lake house. Your kids' college tuitions are paid for. You're good to go. So I sleep like a baby. But I woke up this morning to our spotter, Kim Benevitz, just with a thumbs down on the picture I sent to the entire crew of 85 losing numbers. Where I went, Amber, the sign said beer, wine, lotto, and there was a laundromat right next to it. I really felt somewhat confident. I think my odds went from about 300 million to 1 to about 100 million to 1. I think I cut them down by a third. That was my thought going in. Beer, wine, lotto, laundromat. I got shot. 85 numbers, right? Hey, we got a chance here. Did not win
squat.
Dime.
Not a dollar did you reap. So the college football coverage this season right here on ESPN Radio, it lives on because the entire college football broadcast that bought tickets and Venmoed the money to Ian, well, they just lost all that money. That's how it works for most of us that play the lotto. So congratulations to whoever in this state just became a billionaire last night. That would shake your foundation of everything, like just everything. Like,
what do you do when you wake up? When you check your numbers, you're having
religious
coffee.
Beliefs, it would literally shake the entire foundation of your life. You know what? I don't even want it. Mo money, mo problems, Ian. I feel like, it's a blessing in disguise we lost, right?
No. You sound like my buddy Barrett Jones, the 3-time All-American from Alabama, 3-time national champ. He was our color analyst here at ESPN Radio for years. And we're getting ready to call a Wisconsin game the next day. We're at the Tornado Room, great steakhouse in Madison, Wisconsin. If you're ever going to go catch a Wisconsin game, if you can, about a month out, you need to make your reservation. It is phenomenal. But anyway, we're sitting there having dinner, and at that time, I think the Powerball was around $500 million. And Barrett goes, "You don't want to win the lottery." Like,
exactly.
What?
I'm with him.
What?
It's
You
so
kidding?
many problems.
Yeah, look at the history. They all go broke, blah, blah, blah.
That's true.
Give me that chance.
Now,
I want the opportunity to be that rare person to not go broke after winning the lottery. So you sound just like Barrett Jones right now going, no, it's not necessarily a bad thing. You didn't win $700 million in take home cash.
Now, the lotto, one of the reasons that we keep seeing the changing of the jackpot here is because the lotto changed its rules, the Powerball and the Mega Millions some years ago. And it makes it actually somehow the calculation works. So it's supposed to be that people win more often, but smaller amounts. But the big amount then becomes harder to win. So it pools and pools and pools, which is why we get these insanely large jackpots more often than it feels like we used to get them.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So about 50% of lotto winners, I believe, is the statistic, go broke, given traditionally those people haven't been winning 700 million, which is roughly the cash payout here, right? So a little harder to go broke when it's that much money. I'm sure somebody has done it before, though. Amber Wilson, Ian Fitzsimmons here on ESPNU and on ESPN2. The Commanders, speaking of billionaires, have new ownership in place. The coaching staff is the same at the top with Ron Rivera, but that OC is quite different this year with Eric Bieniemy. And apparently, he is instituting a new philosophy. It isn't going over well with the players at all times. Here's the head coach, Ron Rivera.
A lot of these young guys, they do struggle with certain things. And a lot of y'all got to take for where they've been. I mean, guys coming from certain programs are used to it. Guys coming from other programs aren't as much. So, I kind of have to assimilate and get a feel for everybody. Eric has an approach, and it's the way he does things, and he's not going to change, and because he believes in it.
So Ron Rivera essentially revealing there to the media that not all the players are taking kindly to Eric Bieniemy's approach. Here, Ian, was Eric Bieniemy, the Commanders' OC, on his methods.
Eric Bieniemy is who he is, okay? Eric Bieniemy knows how to adapt and adjust. Eric Bieniemy is a tough, hard-nosed coach, but also understand I'm going to be their biggest and harshest critic, but I'm also their number one fan, because I got their back. My job is to make sure that we're doing it the right way. There's a way to do it. Do they understand that? Yes, because they're seeing the results. We're making a lot of strides. I'm proud of these guys. It's been some, excuse my language, some good to watch.
Eric Bieniemy likes to speak in the third person.
He does.
What do you take from all that? Because I was surprised that Ron Rivera was straight up addressing it to us, but it felt like to me a message that he was sending to his players.
All right, see, you and I are in the minority. And you and I were talking about this in our pre-show meeting, and I completely agree with you. One, to your point about third person, I mean, that was Clifford Franklin-esque from The Replacements. I mean, that was spectacular. But when it comes to Rivera, a lot of people, including like Louis Riddick, a former player for 8-9 years in the National Football League and one of our lead football analysts, along with Harry Douglas, who had a remarkable career in the league with the Falcons and Titans. They didn't like Rivera calling, like bringing this to the forefront, but I disagree. I think it felt to me, one, it was posed a question. So obviously players have gone to the media complaining about Bieniemy being very forceful and aggressive and loud, and holding them accountable in a firm fashion. Well, oh my gosh, let's go cry to dad, right? When all of a sudden, the uncle is screaming at you. You go to the general because the colonel's all over you. Come on, man. What are you doing? You're getting paid millions of dollars to go and play a game. And if your coach is holding you accountable, that's got not one but 2 Super Bowl rings in a firm fashion, you might want to listen to him. So I'm with you. I think Rivera was delivering more of a message through the media to his players, saying, hey, the enemy's not going to change. Yeah, they've come to me. Some are a little concerned that he's a little harsh. Well, so what? Toughen up. You're a grown bleeping man getting paid a lot of money to listen to a guy who is a 2-time Super Bowl champion. You never heard Mahomes or Kelsey or any of those guys complaining about, Eric Bieniemy being so hard on them. That's ridiculous. A 2-time Super Bowl champ is holding you accountable in a firm fashion. And so I liked what Rivera did, putting it out there going, yeah, some of my players, they're a little soft right now. They're concerned, but my OC, he's not going to change. So I'm with you. I know we're in the minority. I liked what Rivera did, putting his players that came to him, crawling in, going, the enemy's yelling at me, putting them on blast, going, toughen up, because that guy, he's got rings and you don't.
I think one of the hardest parts about being a coach or being a leader in any business, right, is figuring out how to reach people. And when you're a coach, you have to figure out how to reach young people and a new generation of young people all the time. And that's got to be incredibly difficult over the course of your coaching career. So I understand that there are different ways to reach different players. And I do think if you're a really good coach, you have to be a big cognizant of that. Your system, that hard-nosed approach, it might not rate the same with everybody. And it might not be the best approach to get the best out of a specific player. Maybe it works better with the next guy. And so I do think that you have to be somewhat adaptive if you're a coach. However, all of that being said, so I'm not really commenting on what Eric Bieniemy is doing in terms of how he's approaching this thing. We'll see how effective it is this season with the Commanders. What I don't have a problem with is Ron Rivera coming out and addressing it, because I feel like what Ron Rivera is doing is trying to set the tone and send a message to his players, like you just said, where Ron Rivera is saying, hey, this is the approach of Eric Bieniemy. It's not sitting well with some of you guys. You guys need to toughen up. I'm going to call you out in front of the entire world. And that's what it feels like the head coach here has done, is bringing light to this issue in order to send a message. I never believe that veteran coaches, when they speak to the media, are doing anything without calculation. It's those
Agreed.
Sean Payton comments with Nathaniel Hackett that we talk so much about.
Nick Saban at Alabama.
Saban at Alabama, right? Even when he was taking shots at Jimbo back and forth, everything is calculated with these veteran coaches. This is not Ron Rivera stepping in it. This is Ron Rivera with a calculated move. It is a message to somebody. And I believe, like you do, that it was a message to his players. Coming up next here on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app, is Micah Parsons the biggest non-quarterback X factor in the NFL?
The countdown to kickoff rolls on. 29 days until the NFL season begins.
Windows my whole career.
Prescott has had a fantastic night.
We want to win the Super Bowl.
Continuing coverage.
Touchdown for Lamar Jackson.
Camp to camp, team to team. The NFL lives here. ESPN Radio.
You've always had what it takes to make it happen, and we know the right tools can make it easier. At Strayer University, we're always thinking about new ways to set you up for success. That's why we give you a brand new laptop when you enroll in a bachelor's program, so you can start off on the right foot and keep striving. Visit strayer.edu to learn more. Eligibility rules, restrictions, and exclusions apply. Connect with us for details. Strayer University is certified to operate in Virginia by SHIRE.
Valspar's Signature has everything you want in a paint and more.
rich color, smooth coverage, excellent stain resistance. And now, Valspar's signature has one more thing to love. An all-new low price, starting at just $35.98 per gallon. Originally $39.98, this limited-time offer begins August 3rd, only at Lowe's. Valspar, made for more. Valid through 9/26/23. See store or Lowe's.com for details. Price subject to change.
What's up, everybody? It is time to find the joy and drop the judgment and find our version of happy and healthy. I'm Lacey Green, and I'm inviting you to my 3-week program only on Body, the world's first health esteem platform. Welcome to 4 Beginners Only. I'll ease you into exercise with cardio, strength, core, and mobility workouts that are all low impact. And whoop whoop, now you can try 4 Beginners Only with a free trial of Body. Go to body.com today. That's body with an I.com.
DQ presents... That's the sound of someone seeing the DQ $7 meal deal. And that's the sound of someone deciding if they want the original cheeseburger or 3-piece chicken strips with their $7 meal deal. And that's the sound of someone digging into their choice of original cheeseburger or 3-piece chicken strips, plus regular fries, a drink, and a sundae. Sounds pretty good, right? Grab the full-size $7 meal deal only at DQ. Happy tastes good.
You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, whenever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members only pay a $25 copay or less. No insurance, no problem. Now get $80 off of your first month when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Talkspace.com.
Right now at Wendy's, when you buy either Dave's Single, Spicy Chicken Sandwich, Medium Frosty, or 10...
Parsons got another.
This young kid has fire.
It's like he has a motor. He never gets tired.
He's the best defensive player in the league.
Mahomes under pressure. Parsons knocked it out.
Every quarterback is on the hit list. I want all of them. Be like the Terminator out there.
Micah Parsons, arguably the best defensive player in the National Football League. Maybe the most important player on the Dallas Cowboys, not named Dak Prescott. Is he the biggest non-quarterback X factor in the entire league? We're going to get into that in just a second. Amber Wilson and Ian Fitzsimmons here with you on ESPN2 and on ESPN Radio. Micah has some lofty hopes for himself. As great as he is and as much praise as he gets, that dude, Ian, doesn't just want to make the Hall of Fame one day, which he feels pretty on track to do. He wants to be like the greatest Hall of Famer ever. Here is the Cowboys' Micah Parsons.
I don't think I just want to make the Hall of Fame. I just want to be known as one of the greatest Hall of Famers. You know, there's categories to everything. You know, there's good, there's great, and there's like perfect. When you talk about me, I don't want to just be mentioned in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, that's a great accolade, but I want to be one of the greatest in the Hall of Fame.
He wants to be perfect.
Hey, he's not afraid to tell you how not good he is, how great he is, and how great he wants that defense to be, and where he sets the bar for individual achievement, goals, accolades, and that's setting the bar about as high as you possibly can to be one of the, quote, greatest Hall of Famers to play the game, end quote. And you can count probably on one hand, in my opinion, Amber, guys that are right there with Micah Parsons as just wrecking machines and difference makers on the defensive side of the ball. You have a Nick Bosa who led the league in sacks last year, a TJ Watt when he's healthy with Pittsburgh, Hassan Reddick in Philadelphia, Aaron Donald, obviously. I know he's not on a Super Bowl contender now with the Rams, but he's still, one of the best at not just on the defensive side, but in the entire game of football. Those are the guys that are right there in the conversation with Micah Parsons. Or let me reverse that. Micah Parsons has put himself in that category with those players, the best of the best currently playing in the NFL. And to your point, he is a difference maker. I mean, he is one of the best at his craft right now. He knows it, and he's not afraid to tell you about it.
No, he's not afraid to tell you about it. And I guess when you're a professional athlete that is at the top of his craft, you have to find new bars, right? You have to find new goals to actually achieve. And it's got to be hard if you're Micah Parsons at this point, because you're at the very top of the league and you're easily the best to do it right now, right? And maybe the best defensive player in the entire NFL. And so that next goal that you set for yourself, not just to make the Hall, because he's on pace to make the Hall, but to make the Hall in a way that nobody else has made.
Depends on what happens. I mean, injuries.
Well, that's why I said he's on pace.
Yeah,
he's not there yet.
Yeah.
Okay, he's not in the Hall of Fame yet.
I don't want anybody to misconstrue what you're saying.
Right.
He's a Hall of Famer
he's
right
on
now.
Pace.
Right,
No, he's not a Hall of Famer right now. There are some players that I think are already Hall of Famers that are young, like Patrick Mahomes. If his career ends today, a young career,
you make that case.
Already in the Hall of Fame, right? Micah, unfortunately, defensive players, I don't think, enjoy that same semblance of deference when it comes to getting into the Hall. You've got to do more, and you've got to do it for longer. And Micah Parsons is on pace to do that. So now it's not just, I want to be in the Hall of Fame, which by default makes you the top of the top of the top, one of the best in the entire universe to ever do it. But now it's, I want to be in the Hall, and I want to be a first ballot, and I want to be darn near perfect when I get into the Hall. It's another chip on Micah Parsons' shoulders. You got to create these chips. You got to create that motivation, whatever gets it done for him. The reality is the Cowboys should have plenty of chips and motivation on their shoulders this season because of the expectations that we've all had for that Dallas team now for the last few years that they haven't lived up to in the postseason.
And it starts with that defense. Dak's a given, right? But this defense also last year, the 12-win team in the regular season, led the league in takeaways. Now, they feasted on some bad teams, but I don't care. When you lead the league in takeaways, you're doing something. Dan Quinn has developed and built a ball-hawking, playmaking defense. So it starts there. Now Dak's got to finish it. When that defense gives you the ball in plus territory, you can't settle for three. You can't throw a pick. You can't turn it over. You got to hit pay dirt. So it starts on the defense to me, and that's the attitude of this team. Dak and the offense now have to finish what those guys start on the defensive side of the ball. That, to me, is a character of this Cowboys squad. And I love the attitude from Diggs getting in Dak's face last week to everything else we're seeing right now with the Cowboys out in Oxnard at training camp. That defense, they're hunting right now. And that's, to me, if the Cowboys are going to finally, in the postseason, take that next step and actually survive and advance and sniff an NFC championship game for the first time since 1995, the attitude starts on that side of the ball with Micah Parsons, and then the offense has to finish it.
The offense has to finish it. The Cowboys have those expectations. Micah Parsons, of course, critical in accomplishing those goals and completing those expectations. So we both agree that he's a big X factor on that team.
Hell
I think,
yes.
though, when we talk about X factors, too, often I go to the guys that I think can make the difference, and you wonder, are they going to make the difference? With Micah Parsons, I feel like I have no doubts about Micah. Like, one of the reasons that I think we put our focus on Dak, beyond the fact that it's the quarterback position, and overall that's the most important position on the football field, it's that Dak has had these questions of accuracy here coming off of last season, the double-digit interceptions, right? And he's got to cut down on that this season. Is he going to be able to do that in that offense? Defensively for the Cowboys, I actually don't have as many questions, and due in large part to Micah. Like, I have no reason to believe Micah Parsons isn't going to again be the best defensive player in the NFL this season. So they're easy to believe in from that side of the ball, but absolutely he's going to have to show up, and that defense is going to have to do what that defense should do based on that roster. So is Micah Parsons the biggest non-quarterback X factor in the entire league? Amber Wilson and Ian Fitzsimmons with you here on ESPN Radio. ESPN Radio brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Give us a call. This is your time to chime in. 888-SAY-ESPN, 888-729-3776. For me, when I run through the biggest X factors in the league, I tend to lean towards offense. Like you just named the other best defensive players in the league that make that difference that Micah Parsons makes on that side of the ball. But I tend to find myself leaning to offense when I talk about X factors. Guys like the Justin Jeffersons of the world, right? The Kelseys, the weapons that end up being
quarterbacks
so
are a given.
paramount.
We know who those guys are.
Well, the quarterback, right? The quarterbacks are a given. But when I just sat down, I made a list off the top of my head. Who would I put in the list of biggest X factors in the league? The guys who I think make such a difference. And I found that my list tends to be wide receivers and tight ends.
No running backs, huh?
I don't have Derrick Henry. I have Derrick Henry on my list. He's the only running back. Saquon probably should be on my list. I mean, I was just jotting down names. Saquon should be on my list. Yeah.
And you know what? Christian McCaffrey. Yes. That's one. When he's healthy, he's one of the best at his craft in the business. But the problem is when you have to throw that in there when it comes to McCaffrey when he is healthy. Mm-hmm. But I mean, he can catch it, tote it, block it. He's got breakaway speed. Again, you have that caveat when he is healthy. But and that's why you and I just kind of summed up the position of running back in the NFL, because I would go mostly, and again, the top quarterbacks are a given when it comes to difference makers. But if you're going to go away from quarterback, you're going to the Justin Jeffersons, the Jamar Chases, the Travis Kelce's, the George Kittles of the world, and then you go to running back. Mm-hmm. And that's part of, because maybe it's the world we live in, and it's a pass-happy league. But if you don't have a running back to finish games in the fourth quarter, to shorten that game in your 4-minute offense, you're not going to be as good as some of these teams that do have, not just one, but maybe two backs in their stable. And that's why I think a guy like Eric Gray out of Oklahoma is going to help Saquon Barkley. But I think Saquon Barkley, take him off the Giants, they're not sniffing the playoffs.
Right.
With him, they're a wild card contender. And that to me is a difference maker. So I think a guy like Saquon should also be on the list.
I agree with you there. Coming up next here on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app, Mike McCarthy will be calling plays this year for those Dallas Cowboys that we were just talking about. Will that be the difference maker for the Cowboys this postseason? But first, Ian has this word from Grainger.
For the ones who get it done, Grainger offers high-quality supplies and solutions for every industry, as well as access to product specialists who have the knowledge and experience to answer your toughest questions. Plus, their commitment to being your safety partner can help you keep your facilities safe and your people safer. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by.
ESPN Radio's NFL Two-A-Days continue. An in-depth preview of every team in the National Football League.
So badly want to bring Super Bowl here.
NFL Two-A-Days. 2 teams every day. The Ravens and Cowboys are today, followed by the Bills and Vikings tomorrow. NFL Two-A-Days continues right here on ESPN Radio.
Valspar's Signature has everything you want in a paint and more. Rich color, smooth coverage, excellent stain resistance. And now, Valspar's Signature has one more thing to love. An all-new low price, starting at just $35.98 per gallon. Originally $39.98, this limited-time offer begins August 3rd, only at Lowe's. Valspar, made for more. Valid through 9/26/23. See store or Lowe's.com for details. Price subject to change.
This is your moment. Your moment to move forward and make progress. It's time to see where an education can take you. For over 130 years, Strayer University has been at the forefront of change, offering programs that help students like you get ahead and stay ahead, so you can keep striving. Visit strayer.edu to learn more. Strayer University is certified to operate in Virginia by Chef.
Is the Peloton bike even worth it? Isn't it just a bike?
Just a bike with low-impact rides for chill people to chill with 5 and 10-minute cooldowns for cool people to be cool with, and scenic rides for vibey people to vibe with. It's just a bike with a 30-day home trial so you can see if you're any one of those people. Try a Peloton Bike or Bike Plus at home for 30 days, and if it's not for you, return it for a full refund. First-time Bike and Bike Plus purchasers only. 1 trial per household. Upfront payment required. Full terms at onepeloton.com/home-trial.
Rockstar Energy Punch, bringing a bold and unapologetic flavor packed with energy through a blend of B vitamins, guarana extract, and 240 milligrams of caffeine to fuel what's next. Rockstar Energy Drink.
The drive to go further and reach higher. The same thing that inspires you inspires us. At Strayer University, we're always searching for new ways to make education more affordable. That's why we offer access to up to 10 no-cost gen ed courses to help you save time and money so you can keep striving. Visit strayer.edu to learn more. No cost gen eds provided by Strayer University affiliate Sophia Learning. Eligibility rules apply. Connect with us for details. Strayer University is certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Valspar's Signature has everything you want in a paint and more. Rich color, smooth coverage, excellent stain resistance. And now, Valspar's Signature has one more thing to love. An all-new low price, starting at just $35.98 per gallon. Originally $39.98, this limited-time offer begins August 3rd, only at Lowe's. Valspar, made for more. Valid through 9/26/23. See store or Lowe's.com for details. Price subject to change.
Right now at Wendy's, when you buy either Dave's Single, Spicy Chicken Sandwich, Medium Frosty, or 10-piece nuggets, you can get another for just $1. Your dollar never tasted so good. So it's obvious what everyone will get, right?
Definitely nugs
Spicy
and
chicken
a Frosty.
sandwich,
Dave's Single and a Frosty for me.
and a Frosty.
Okay, who said Frosty and a Frosty? Pick your obvious choice. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's, buy one, get one for $1.
Limited time only. Price of participation may vary. U.S. Wendy's, valid for item of equal or lesser value. Cannot be combined in a combo or any other offer.
Sometimes it can feel like food has an emotional control over you. Well, it's time to show your food who's boss with Noom. Noom uses science and personalization to help you manage your weight for the long term. Their psychology-based approach helps you build better habits and behaviors that are easier to maintain. The best part? You decide how Noom fits into your life, not the other way around. Sign up for your trial today at Noom.com. That's Noom.com to sign up for your trial today.
So you're in the middle of a kitchen update, and you can't tell if that's a faucet stem or a flange. With the Home Depot app, doing doesn't miss a beat. It'll find what you need in a snap, and it'll show you how to find it in store with a tap. Or get it delivered free. For doing that doesn't stop, download the Home Depot app. It's made for doing.
The waves were muddy and fierce as could be when my lady and I got lost at sea. We tossed and turned and we nearly drowned when my brave little boat went down. Whoa, 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 no, none of that's true. You haven't had a date in a year or two. The sea was calm and the sky was clear and you crashed right into the pier.
Yeah, fine. Accidents don't just happen in sea shanties, so Progressive Boat Insurance has you covered. Take as little as 4 minutes to see what you can save at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Covered subject to policy terms and not available for all boats or in all situations.
At eBay, expert authenticators inspect every detail of select handbags, sneakers, watches, and jewelry you love. Ensure your next purchase is the real deal with eBay's Authenticity Guarantee. Everyone deserves real. Visit eBay.com for terms.
Finding the perfect country soundtrack is easy with TuneIn's Country Road Station.
Terms and conditions apply.
Two again. And Tucker hits it in the air pretty deep to right field. That sends back McKenna at the wall looking up. See you later! Kyle Tucker gives the Astros a lead with a grand slam. 7-6, Houston.
That's how it sounded on KBME 790 as Kyle Tucker's 9th inning grand slam led the Astros to a 7-6 win over the Orioles. Freddie Freeman had 3 more hits and an RBI, while Mookie Betts added 2 hits and 2 ribbies in the Dodgers' 5-4 win over the D-backs. The Dodgers have won 7 of their past 8. That includes 3 straight. SportsCenter is presented by Progressive, insurance for motorcycles, boats, and RVs for protection on the road and on the water. See how much you can save. 1-800-PROGRESSIVE and at Progressive.com.
Hey, let's go do our job, man.
NFL Nation Two-A-Days on ESPN Radio. The Dallas Cowboys.
58, go!
This is Todd Archer with the Cowboys. How quickly can Mike McCarthy and Dak Prescott gel? For the first time in his career, Prescott will be running a different offense. For the first time since 2018, McCarthy will be calling plays. It's not like the Cowboys' offense was bad under Kellen Moore. It wasn't. But McCarthy wants to make it better and believes he's the right voice to be in Prescott's ear. The new offense has been dubbed the Texas Coast, a blend of what the Cowboys have done for years, McCarthy's West Coast scheme. Prescott and Moore developed a close bond over 7 years as teammates, position coach, and ultimately coordinator. McCarthy used this offseason to get to know what Prescott wants and doesn't want. 2023 is a huge year for the Cowboys, the coach, and the quarterback. As they get to Oxnard, California, they know they have to get on the same page quickly.
Countdown to kickoff with NFL Nation Two-A-Days on ESPN Radio.
We will get to your phone calls in just a moment. 888-ESPN. We were asking you who is the biggest non-quarterback X factor in the NFL. But let's talk some Dallas Cowboys first, Ian. And the Cowboys season last season, it was a weird one. I mean, you're talking about, a double-digit win team, a good team, but a team that certainly felt the loss of Amari Cooper. I don't feel like enough, frankly, was made of that with the Cowboys allowing Dak's favorite weapon to no longer be on that team. And it did affect Dak Prescott. You're talking about double-digit interceptions for that quarterback. A disappointing finish to the season, of course, for the Dallas Cowboys. And then Kellen Moore, he leaves. He goes to Los Angeles. Now, everything is going to be on the shoulders for Mike McCarthy. So you heard there coming in, Mike McCarthy thinks that he is the answer, that he can do a better job here with this offense. He better do a better job with this offense because there's no buffer anymore. It feels like it will be his job if this season ends like it did last season.
He's going out in his style. If he's going to get fired, he's putting it all on him. Because think about this, Amber. He's had back-to-back 12-win seasons, but they haven't sniffed an NFC championship game. They've had disappointing moments. And go back to not being able to clock a football with time running out in a playoff game. It was just, it was, just a comedy of errors on that particular play. And that goes to coaching. So what do? So if I might get blown up, then I'm going to go out the way I want to go out. And I'm calling plays. And that's where he is at his core. He jettisons Kellen Moore, who was without a job for less than 24 hours before the Chargers picked him up as their new offensive coordinator. And now Mike McCarthy's calling plays. I'm curious to see who's going to be in charge of in his year about clock management also, because that's been an issue with McCarthy, and challenging plays. They have to get better at that as well, because he's had issues with that in his first 2 years and even going back to his time as a head coach in Green Bay. But bottom line is he's going out the way he wants to, and that's him calling plays. But they've got to get Zach Martin in there. And I watched an interview yesterday, Amber, with Jerry Jones, and his message was very, very firm. And now he's negotiating with Zach Martin in the media. He said that if every player who has multiple years, as you brought up yesterday, left on his contract, Zach Martin has 2 years left on his deal that he signed back in 2018 to make him the highest paid player in his position. Now, by the standards and the money, he is grotesquely underpaid. But bottom line is he has 2 years left on his contract. And Jerry said, if we were to restructure every player and their contract that outperformed the one they signed, we wouldn't be able to sign guys in the future, because I'm going to have to take care of Micah Parsons. We just took care of Diggs. You've got guys like Jaron Kearse. We have a lot of CeeDee Lamb's coming up. So his message was a firm one to Zach Martin and to that locker room. We can't afford to restructure every player that outperforms their contract when you have multiple years left on the one that you signed. I'm fascinated to see how this whole thing plays out, because they need Zach Martin, not just on the field, because he's arguably the best guard in the league, but also, as we've talked about a lot, Amber, on this show, in that locker room where a guy like Zach Martin is a captain and he holds everybody else accountable.
It's what I talked about yesterday with Zach Martin. It's a different situation to me than some of these other holdouts that we're seeing around the league, the Nick Bosas, the Jonathan Taylors, the Chris Jones of the world, because Zach Martin has multiple years left on his deal, and those guys are coming into the final years of their contract. If I'm Jerry Jones, I am giving a large pause before I renegotiate a contract with multiple years left on it. Yes, this is the best right guard in the entire league. Yes, he has outplayed the value of that contract. But what standard are you setting moving forward? Because most of these guys outplay the value of their contracts if, in fact, they're performing well and living up to their expectations, right? And so you could be in a situation, if you're Jerry Jones, which you stated, and apparently he's wholly aware of, and I would expect him to be. He's been in this thing for a very long time. He knows then any deal that a player signs, if that player is playing very well and the market's changed over the course of that deal, all of a sudden he's going to have his feet held to the fire. He's going to have to renegotiate that thing. And that's not a situation that he wants to find himself in time and time again at various different positions. It's like right now, and you could see it happening, but it'd be like right now, like look at what happens here with the quarterback market, right? We always talk about quarterbacks, the easiest thing to talk about in the league. You just saw the extensions with the Justin Herberts and the Lamar Jacksons of the world. Well, Patrick Mahomes is now underpaid by all of those standards. But Patrick Mahomes has many years left on that deal. At the time KC entered that deal with Patrick Mahomes, I think it's 40 per. I don't have the stats in front of me, but I believe at that time it was the biggest deal. It was the highest paid. And so now is Patrick Mahomes going to go every time a new quarterback gets paid more than him, who's not as good as him, because Patrick Mahomes is better than everybody, right? So every time one of these new guys gets paid, Patrick Mahomes is going to go back to KC and say, hey, we need to renegotiate now. You need to pay me more. You need to pay me more. You need to pay me more. It's a salary cap sport. And contracts from a front office perspective do need to matter to some degree in order for them to navigate this salary cap. And so if I am a team and running a team, and it may not feel fair because Zach Martin is underpaid at this point at $14 million per, even though they made him the highest paid player back in 2018 when he signed that deal. It's underpaid in 2023, but you have to look at this from the front office perspective. And I am not renegotiating that thing before I have to renegotiate that thing. And you do not have to when there's multiple years left on that deal.
And there's one other aspect we haven't talked about at all. And this is going to sound, like a lot of people are going to roll their eyes. What I'm about to say, but it's important. It's very important. As the average margin of victory in the National Football League is less than 7 points a game, you need a kicker. They just cut Vizcaino. They don't have a kicker right now. Robbie Gould's on the street.
I did not see the kicker aspect of this analysis coming. Like a tight end, the fact that they lost Schultz, they're going with a rookie tight end. Like there's a lot of places we can go with the Cowboys. Kicker, I didn't see that. You're not wrong.
They don't have a kicker. How many times do you see a game come down to that very thing? And maybe I'm a little skewed having a brother that coaches special teams in the NFL, but you need a damn kicker. And they don't have one. They're still trying guys out. Again, they just zapped Vizcaino. Robbie Gould's on the street. Mason Crosby's on the street. I'm bringing somebody in because this team, as great as the roster is, and it is a great roster. I mean, it's Philadelphia, it's San Francisco, and then you put the Cowboys right there that next tier. They're going to be they're going to make the playoffs, in my opinion. And then that's when we see what version of the Cowboys do we finally have. Do we have a team that's going to make a deep run in the postseason, or are they going to wilt yet again? But you got to have somebody to be able to kick the stinking ball through the uprights, and they don't have one. I know everyone's like, kicker? I'm telling you, they got to find one, because if they don't, they are going to lose multiple games because somebody hit the upright or went wide right or wide left.
I mean, so you're right. Every NFL team needs a kicker. You are absolutely right. We thought maybe Micah Parsons was the non-quarterback X factor, the contract of Zach Martin, like I said, the tight end position, the change there with Kellen Moore, none of that. Ian Fitzsimmons is here to tell you, they need a kicker. They need a kicker. Jerry forgot about the kicker. Will Mike McCarthy and Dak Prescott be the perfect pair this season? Perfect Pair is brought to you by Reese's Peanut Butter Cup. So I told you we would get back to your calls. Who is the biggest non-quarterback X factor in the league? 888 say ESPN. We will get to your calls next.
Whether you rent or own, Geico makes it